In a match of very few clear-cut chances, QPR gained a point on the road away at Sunderland on Saturday afternoon, a result which ended the host's 6-game losing streak. I'm Hoopsa. I chat about QPR before and after every fixture, so let's break down this performance. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Sunderland have been in pretty terrible shape in 2024 with 8 losses from their last 12 league fixtures. And the sacking of Slick McBill has done very little to help matters, with a subsequent 4 defeats making it 6 losses in a row for the Mackems. To quite literally add insult to injury, Sunderland were without 9 players going into this match, not only missing top scorer Jack Clark, thank God, but also any fit centre-backs, leading to Dan Ballard being forced back early from recovery on Saturday afternoon. QPR, of course, were looking to return to winning ways after a tired 2-0 loss at home to Borough last weekend, so Martí Cifuentes opted to make 2 changes to the side, with Isaac Hayden returning to the starting lineup in place of Sam Field and Lyndon Dykes taking up the role of striker. Sunderland were expectedly poor here, and QPR did have the better chances to win the game, with Sunderland failing to register a single shot on target in the entire 90 minutes. But unfortunately, that toothlessness up front that we've so often seen from QPR this season showed its ugly head again, and we just did not capitalise here against a very poor side. Elias Chair once again opened proceedings, with Anderson's sweeping ball into the box initially cleared into the path of Jack Colback, who teed up Elias Chair for a blocked shot. 5 minutes later, Anderson himself could have opened the scoring, with Elias Chair pressuring Hume into giving the ball away right outside of the box, with Patterson completely absent in front of goal, but Anderson's weak delayed shot into the centre of the net made it easy for Patterson to recover and block the shot. You do not often get gifted chances as open as this, and looking at it back from this angle, Anderson had to score this. Jack Colback could have once again been embarrassed against his old side when he had his pocket picked by Dan Neil on the 23rd minute, but Neil's halfway line shot was too high to catch out Begovic. QPR just did not have their shooting boots on either though, with Chris Willock hitting the ball high into the Stadium of Light on the 26th minute, and Elias Chair failing to test the keeper with his shot outside the box a minute later. These would be QPR's last chances of the first half, and Sunderland would apply some pressure that would force Isaac Hayden and Jake Clark-Sutter to spring into action, but they ultimately didn't do enough to test Begovic between the sticks. Once again, you'll notice that I haven't mentioned Dykes so far, and that's because just like his sub-appearance for Frey against Borough last weekend, he was completely invisible. If you read the BBC live text back for the game, he's only mentioned twice in the match report. The first being for a foul 2 minutes in, and the second being for his eventual substitution for Sinclair Armstrong on the 64th minute. You might think it's harsh to single out Dykes, with Willock, Chair and Anderson in particular spurning some great chances in that first half, but that's exactly the point. They were involved, they were having shots at goal, and Dykes just did not do anything. And let's be honest, when Dykes plays up front, that is something that we consistently do say about him. I am absolutely on board with Martí and his decision making, whether that goes good or bad, but I really do question why he started here, especially after that poor appearance last week, but also when you've got the pace and power of Armstrong sat on the bench. I know Armstrong hasn't bagged a ton of goals this season either, but he does create problems when he comes on. And after doing very little in an attacking sense for the first 20 minutes of the second half, it took Armstrong just 1 minute after he was substituted on alongside Joe Hodge for Chair to have his first shot at goal, with Hayden collecting another mishit Sunderland pass, Anderson driving towards goal and putting Sinclair in behind for a shot at the near post, albeit an easy one for Patterson to collect. Aside from Willock rattling the crossbar unintentionally from a cross, Armstrong remained our attacking threat for the last 30 minutes. A shot blocked on 72 minutes, another on 82 minutes. An excellent run in behind to capitalise on a very good ball from Paul Smith, now on the pitch for Anderson, but ultimately too tight an angle in the box to put Patterson in any real danger. This move would repeat multiple times, this time at the death with Joe Hodge pumping the ball over the top to Sinclair to run onto. An almost identical run into the box, but this time with Chris Willock running up as a reinforcement. An inch perfect cutback came from Sinclair to Chris to bury home in the 88th minute, but he didn't. His shot, just like Anderson's in the first half, was right down the centre of the goal, and it gifted Patterson another very good save. Like Anderson, if Willock had picked a corner, that one was going in, and like Anderson, he had to bury this. but he didn't, and it's easy to forget after the much improved form we've been on over the last 10, but this has been a real problem for us over the last 18 months. Sinclair would have another effort before the full-time whistle, this time practically running the full length of the pitch, but once again that narrow right-hand passage that he worked himself into in the box was too tight for him to produce anything of danger. And so the full-time whistle followed a few minutes later. Now, this is a real tricky one to judge, I think. On one hand, it's yet again testament to the progress that Martí Cifuentes has made with this squad that we're disappointed with a draw away at Sunderland. Not a single one of the teams in the bottom 9 of the championship scored or won on Saturday, meaning that even had QPR lost, we would have stayed out of the relegation zone in 20th place. In that sense, gaining a point over the teams below us is a very good result. But I suppose it's the nature of this draw that makes it a little bit harder to swallow. We had 2 must-score chances, and we could have gained another 2 points over Huddersfield, rising into 19th. This was an incredibly poor Sunderland side, and one that didn't have a single shot on target in the whole match. That's like playing QPR at Loftus Road in 2023 and not coming away with a win. Drawing rather than winning also considerably raises the stakes on our next home game against Birmingham on Good Friday. An away win for the Blues that day would put them ahead of Rangers, and a home win for Huddersfield against Coventry would see us fall back into the bottom 3. Winning at home to West Brom or away at Sunderland would have really helped to ease the pressure going into that game. Because let's face it, aside from the home win against Rotherham, QPR really do not cope in those kind of situations. With Birmingham, Wednesday and Argyle in our next 4, we're really approaching crunch time, and this is going to be a real test of how far our mental resilience has come for these kind of fixtures. There have been far worse performances than away at Sunderland, and even if we do go down, I don't think we'll be pinpointing that one as the one where it all went wrong. But what I do know is we need to be giving ourselves the best chances of scoring in this final run, and that's with Sinclair or Frey on the pitch and not Lyndon Dykes. You can make the case that he played his role well in the Leicester City and Bristol City wins, but when he's on the pitch as an out-and-out striker, he simply doesn't fulfil his role. That's now 3 matches in a row without a forward scoring for QPR. Armstrong has the highest goals per 90, aside from Frey in a much smaller sample, and he does also have the highest shot accuracy. Stats aside, he causes the most problems, and I would have really liked to have seen him on the pitch from the start on Saturday, and I do think the outcome would have been different. The team otherwise is looking organised, and I imagine this is how the lineup will stay. We've got nearly 2 weeks to rest now ahead of this final run. Sort the goals out in these next 3 or 4 matches and we can do this. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any thoughts yourself, do let me know in the comments below. And as I said at the start, if you've enjoyed this video, please do hit like and subscribe. It really helps to grow the channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.